Creative Writing Advice with me, JJ Barnes. If you don't know me, I'm JJ. I am the author of How to Write a Story, and I'm over here on YouTube bringing you creative writing advice that I have found helpful in my career, things that I have learned. I'm answering your questions, I'm covering story structure and techniques, things you can do to develop characterization. It's all stuff that I have found really useful, and I'm hoping I can bring it to you in a way that will really help you as well. My goal here is to just give you the confidence and the inspiration, anything you need to be able to get your story out into the world. So today I'm going to be answering a question that I got, well, more of a suggestion for a video topic actually, about how to deal with imposter syndrome. Now, you don't know me, obviously, you know me from here and social media, but there's a difference like knowing people in person, and so this might not be apparent, but imposter syndrome is something that I have always struggled with. The idea that I deserve and worth the job that I do and the opportunities I've had. I have struggled that people are going to suddenly realize that I am just nothing and useless, and this is something that has plagued me. Like, I can't even explain how much imposter syndrome is something that I am dealing with pretty much all the time, just every day. Even if I'm just sitting at home working on my computer, either writing or editing our movie or doing my art, I have to fight the little voice that's always in my head telling me to give up, that nobody will care, and the people who do care are just bullshitting me and just being nice because they feel sorry for me. And it's this constant struggle that the work I do and the love and passion I have for all of this that I spend so much energy on, I struggle with the idea that it's pointless and I am not good enough, and that is essentially imposter syndrome. Yeah, I struggle with that. So how to deal with it? Because obviously I do deal with it. I am doing it, and I'm writing my books, and I'm editing my movie, and I'm writing my scripts, and I'm drawing my pictures, and I'm here putting myself out on camera, which is also something that I had to put a lot of personal energy into convincing myself I could deal. I'm getting used to it now. Obviously, I've been doing this for a while, but it's still something that in my head I have to get through. I have to get through the idea that I shouldn't. And so yeah, I am. So how am I doing it? How you're gonna do it, I'll talk about other ways, I guess. I can, but I'll talk about how I'm coping with imposter syndrome. This is actually a really difficult subject for me. It's a really good one, and I genuinely appreciate the suggestion, because I think we are all in some degree having to cope with this, and I think that subjects like this that most people can relate to are important, because I think it might be helpful to you, hopefully, if you are struggling with this, to see that you're not alone and to know that we are all dealing with it. So I am glad for this topic, and thank you, but it's difficult for me because it is something that I struggle with. How I deal with it is I love what I do so much. I love it with all my heart. If I get up at 5 a.m. with my kids, once they are settled and eating their breakfast and watching the telly, then I get straight on it. I work on my craft, my art, my stories, my videos, my movie all the time because I love it. And I think part of the reason that I force myself to cope with imposter syndrome is because the idea of letting it win and giving up and letting the voice inside me that says, stop, you're pointless, like letting that win would crush me in the most true way I can imagine, because it would mean giving up something that is fundamental about myself and stop doing a thing that makes me so alive. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to give it up. I don't want to let imposter syndrome win and stop being myself. So that is a good tip, I think. If you love it and it's such an important part of who you are, whatever it is, whether it's writing, which obviously is what I'm talking about here, whether it's science, whether it's, I don't know, history, whether it's being a tour guide or a dancer, if the thing you love and the thing you want to do and the thing that the voice in your head is trying to stop you doing, if that thing is something that you love and you feel like it's truly a part of who you are, you have to focus on that. Do the thing that you love because you love it, and don't let anybody stop you, including yourself. That would be my first tip. For writing specifically, another thing to think about, and this is really important, genuinely, it's really, really important, because every single one of us is a completely unique person. And I know that, you know, all snowflake, all that, right? But it's true. And that is relevant for stories more than so many things, because stories are how we communicate humanity out into the world, how we deal with thoughts and ideas and dreams and fears. Everything like that is done through our characters, and our characters are people that we create and put out into the world. And every time you create a person, you put a little bit of yourself, because they are almost children. My children have a big part of me because I created them. And the same is true of my characters, even the bad ones. You are creating them and using yourself and your life and your experiences to shape a person. And every one of us will shape each person differently. My brother and I, we grew up in the same houses. We have the same parents. We aren't step siblings or half siblings. Our parents aren't separated. They are still together. We grew up in the same way. We went to the same schools. We had a lot of the same friends. We would hang out together. We'd listen to the same music and play the same games. We're very close, and I love my brother to bits, but my brother is very different to me. For one thing, he is a physicist and a literal genius who works in science, and I am not anything to do with science. I'm not good with numbers. But my point is, even though we had a very similar upbringing and a very similar life, we are incredibly different people. So anything he created would be completely different to anything I created. And therefore, anything you create will be completely different to anything anybody else creates. And there might be similarities. You could use similar themes. You could even have characters that are based on the same people. Like, that would be fine. But what you would do with them, how you would explore them, the feelings they would have, their inner monologue, the actions they would take, the choices they would be making would be shaped purely by you, not by other people's experiences. They'd be done by you. And if you let your inner voice that is telling you you're an imposter, stop it, you win, then those people, those characters, those stories would never, ever, ever exist in any possible way. Your stories will only exist because of you. And that should, to me, that should be a reason to fight imposter syndrome, because a world without your story, your characters, will be a lesser world. When you create something new and beautiful and artistic and interesting and moving and put it out into the world, you are putting life into a world that really needs stories, because stories coach us, they give us hope, They help us deal with fears. They entertain us. They make us laugh. They make us cry. They make us feel. And our world is ghastly sometimes. And stories make it a bit better. And if you let Imposter Syndrome win and don't put your story out into the world because you're frightened, the world is missing out. The world is losing out on something that could help it. And you are the only person who can do that. Other people can do theirs, and theirs are also important, but yours matters. Your story. So, for me, dealing with imposter syndrome is twofold, I think. Fold number one is being true to yourself, embracing who you are, and not letting you give up on yourself, not living a life that is less yours. Because this is who you are, this is what you love, you matter, you should do it because you are important. And fold number two is putting it out into the world, because if you don't, nobody else will. And we need it. The world needs it. Stories are important. Stories matter. If you have that in you, that ability to create and put a story out into the world, then you should. Because if you don't, no one else will do it for you. So that is how I cope with imposter syndrome. It was an interesting video for me to do this. When I was asked the question, suggested the topic, I've been mulling it over, and a lot of different responses have sort of come into my brain, but it sort of boiled down to this, like the truth and the importance of stories. But it is something I struggle with all the time. So if you're struggling too, and you're worried about it, then I understand. You're not alone. We all do it, and it sucks. But we can get through it. I am literally having to fight my way through it every day. So please take heart from me and do it too, because you can. Thank you very much for watching. A different video to normal, obviously, because I'm not sort of covering an actual writing thing, more the desire and will to do. But as I say, I think genuinely a really important one. And hopefully I've helped you. So thank you for watching, and thank you again for the question. Please subscribe to this channel. I put out a video every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 9:30 in the morning. On a Monday I am doing my Ask Me Anything series, where I'm doing as many short quick fire questions as I can about a multitude of subjects, some to do with writing and stories, and things to do with life as well. And then every Wednesday and Friday I do a deep dive into a particular subject like this one and all the other videos on my channel. So check them out. Drop me a comment, because if you're dealing with imposter syndrome and you are managing to cope with it, what are your techniques? Because this is how I have come up with it. But again, we're all different, so if you have something that you do to get yourself through imposter syndrome and how to cope with it, please let me know, not everyone else, tell me, because I still struggle. So if your technique can help me too, that would be great. I would really appreciate it. So yeah, and you can go to my website, which is jjbarnes.co.uk, and over there you can find all of these things I've been talking about, the things that I work on, that I love so truly, and I'm really proud of and really passionate about. So if you are interested in those things that I am doing, my books are there, my blog where I do more writing advice stuff, the films and TV stuff, my scripts, my photos, my art, and then just my social media where you can come and chat to me and talk to me on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all those things. Yeah, come find me and we will talk, and hopefully imposter syndrome is something we can conquer and get through. So thank you very much for watching, and I will be back again soon. Bye.